The combat hall of the Galactic War Academy was larger than a city plaza. Cold blue lights shone from the high ceiling. Rows of alien cadets stood in perfect lines, their armor polished, their eyes fixed forward. In the center of the hall, raised on a glowing metal platform, rested a single weapon. It was a blade, long silver, ancient. The metal looked alive under the lights. Strange symbols were carved along its surface. The air around it felt heavy, almost sacred. Every cadet in the room knew its name. The instructors spoke of it with pride. History books called it the weapon that ended 3 wars. For 300 years, no one had questioned it. At the front of the hall stood Instructor Valor, a tall armored alien with sharp features and a deep voice that echoed through the chamber. "Cadets," he began, "before you stands the most perfectly balanced combat blade ever created in our galaxy." A soft murmur of respect moved through the ranks. "This blade has been tested in real war," he continued. "It has defeated rebels, pirates, and entire strike teams. Its balance is flawless. Its design is beyond improvement." The lights brightened around the platform as if even the Academy itself agreed. Near the back row stood a human cadet. His name was Aaron Vale. Unlike many of the alien students, he did not wear heavy armor. His uniform was simple. No glowing markings. No extra metal plates. Just calm eyes and steady breathing. Some aliens glanced at him with quiet judgment. Humans were new to the Academy. Many believed they relied too much on instinct and not enough on tradition. Instructor Valor suddenly turned his gaze toward the back. "Human," he called out. "Step forward." The hall went silent. Aaron did not hesitate. He walked between the rows of cadets, boots tapping softly against the metal floor. Every eye followed him. Some watched with curiosity, others with doubt. He stopped in front of the glowing platform. Valor looked down at him. "You come from a world known for war," the instructor said. "Tell us, human, what do you see?" Aaron studied the blade without touching it. "I see a weapon," he answered calmly. A few cadets smirked at the simple reply. Valor's voice sharpened. "This is not just a weapon. It is perfection. Lift it." A small wave of whispers moved across the hall. Only honored warriors were allowed to hold the blade. Aaron reached forward. His fingers wrapped around the grip. The metal felt cold. Solid. He lifted it slowly. No struggle. No shaking. The blade rose smoothly into his hand. Some cadets looked surprised. The blade was heavier than it appeared. Aaron adjusted his stance. He gave the weapon a slow test swing through the air. The sound it made was sharp and clean. He swung again, slightly faster this time. Then he stopped. His expression changed. It was small, almost invisible, but his eyes narrowed just a little. Instructor Valor crossed his arms. "You feel its balance?" Aaron shifted his grip slightly. He angled the blade and let it rest in his palm. There was a pause, a long one. Then he spoke. "Why is this so badly balanced?" The words fell into the hall like a shockwave. For a moment, no one moved. Several cadets gasped. One dropped his training pad. Others stared at Aaron as if he had just insulted the entire galaxy. Instructor Valor's eyes darkened. "Explain yourself," he said slowly. Aaron did not raise his voice. He did not look nervous. "It pulls forward," he replied. "Not much, but enough. The center of balance is slightly ahead of the grip. In fast combat, that slows recovery." The room felt colder. "That blade has ended wars," Valor said. Aaron nodded. "I believe that. But against faster opponents, small delays matter." Murmurs spread again. Some cadets looked uncertain now. The instructor stepped closer. "For centuries, masters have called it perfect." Aaron carefully lowered the blade but did not release it. "Maybe no one fought the right enemy," he said quietly. Silence filled the combat hall. 300 years of pride stood on that glowing platform, and a human cadet had just questioned it. The silence inside the combat hall felt heavier than armor. No one moved. Instructor Valor stepped down from the platform slowly. His boots echoed across the metal floor. His eyes never left Aaron. "You claim the blade is flawed," Valor said in a calm but dangerous voice. "Such words require proof." Aaron held the weapon steady. He did not argue. He did not apologize. "I can show you," he said simply. A low wave of whispers rolled through the cadets. Valor turned toward the arena controls built into the wall. With one sharp motion, he activated them. The center floor shifted. Panels slid apart, revealing a circular combat ring beneath. "Very well," Valor announced. "We will test your claim." From the opposite side of the hall, a large alien stepped forward. His name was Croth. He was one of the top-ranked cadets in the academy. Tall, broad shoulders, fur-armored arms. Known for speed despite his size, Croth bowed slightly to the instructor. Then he looked at Aaron with a confident smile. "You will use the sacred blade," Valor said to Aaron. "Croth will use standard combat steel." The message was clear. If Aaron failed, the blame would fall on him, not the weapon. Aaron stepped into the arena. The circular walls rose around them, glowing faintly. A shield field activated above to contain damage. Croth spun his twin blades in his hands. "Ready," the alien growled. Aaron adjusted his grip on the historic blade. He could still feel it. The slight forward pull. Small but real. The signal light flashed. Croth moved first. He was fast, much faster than most expected. His upper right blade struck downward while another aimed low at Aaron's side. Aaron blocked the first strike. The impact rang through the arena. But the moment he redirected the blade to defend the second attack, he felt it. The delay. Just a fraction of a second. The forward weight dragged his recovery. Croth's third arm swung toward his shoulder. Aaron barely stepped back in time. Gasps echoed from the stands. Croth pressed harder, attacking from different angles. Heavy. Relentless. Aaron retreated in controlled steps. He was not panicking. He was studying. The blade wanted to fall forward after every swing. That was its nature. It favored power over control. So Aaron stopped fighting it. Instead of forcing perfect recovery, he allowed the blade's weight to carry through his movements. He shifted his stance slightly wider. He angled his wrist differently. He shortened his swings. Croth lunged again. Aaron let the blade drop slightly lower than expected. Croth thought it was an opening. He attacked straight at Aaron's center. That was the mistake. Aaron twisted his body, letting the blade's forward weight add force to a sudden upward strike. Clang. Croth's primary weapon flew from his hand. Before the alien could react, Aaron stepped inside his guard. One controlled movement. The edge of the historic blade rested gently against Croth's chest armor. The arena shield flickered. The system declared the match over. Silence. Croth stood frozen, breathing heavily. Aaron stepped back and lowered the blade. He had not humiliated his opponent. He had adapted. Instructor Valor stared at the scene without speaking. "You see," Aaron said calmly. "The blade hits hard. Very hard. But in fast exchanges, the balance works against quick defense." Croth slowly retrieved his fallen weapon. He looked at Aaron with something new in his eyes. Respect. Valor finally walked into the arena. "You won," he said carefully. "But that does not prove the blade is flawed. It proves you adjusted." Aaron nodded. "Yes," he said. "I adjusted. But not every warrior will notice the problem before it costs them." The instructor looked at the weapon in Aaron's hand as if seeing it for the first time. For 3 centuries, warriors praised it. Today, a human had forced it to prove itself, and the academy was no longer certain what perfect truly meant. The duel ended, but the tension did not. Cadets remained in their positions, yet their focus had changed. They were no longer staring at the sacred blade with blind respect. Now they looked at it with curiosity. Instructor Valor stood in the center of the arena, silent for a long moment. His pride had not been broken, but it had been challenged. "Return the blade," he ordered. Aaron handed it over carefully, as if it were still worthy of honor. Because to him it was. It just was not perfect. Valor held the weapon in both hands. He swung it once. Twice. His movements were practiced. Powerful. Clean. "It feels balanced," he said firmly. Aaron nodded. "For your size and strength, yes." A murmur spread through the hall again. Valor's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Aaron stepped forward slightly. "The blade was designed for larger warriors," he said calmly. "Longer reach. More upper body strength. Strong downward strikes." Valor did not interrupt. "But in close combat," Aaron continued, "where speed matters more than power, the forward weight slows recovery between swings. It is small, but small things decide fights." Croth, the alien who had just dueled Aaron, stepped forward from the side of the arena. "He is correct," Croth said carefully. All eyes turned to him. "When he blocked my second strike," Croth continued, "I saw the delay. I thought I had an opening." Valor looked at Croth sharply. "You lost focus." "No," Croth replied. "I saw the flaw." The room grew quiet again. For centuries, instructors had trained cadets to respect the blade without question. It was not just metal. It was history. It represented victory, honor, tradition. Questioning it felt like questioning the past. Vaylor turned to Aaron. You claim this design is outdated? Aaron shook his head slightly. No, it was advanced in its time. The words were careful, respectful. But time moves, Aaron said. Enemies evolve. Fighting styles change. If weapons do not change, they become predictable. Some of the younger cadets shifted uncomfortably. The idea sounded logical, but it also felt dangerous. Vaylor walked toward the main control panel near the arena wall. With a sharp motion, he activated the combat archives. A large holographic display filled the air above them. Images of past battles appeared. Ancient wars where the sacred blade cut through enemy ranks. You see, Vaylor said. Victory after victory. Aaron studied the images closely. Yes, he said quietly. Against opponents who fought with heavy armor and slow weapons. Vaylor paused. Aaron stepped closer to the display. Show recent battle footage, he requested. The instructor hesitated, but then complied. New images appeared. Modern combat. Faster species. Lighter armor. Quick ambush tactics. In several clips, warriors using the sacred blade struggled during rapid exchanges. Small delays. Missed counters. Nothing obvious. Nothing dramatic. But now, with attention focused, they were visible. Vaylor's jaw tightened. No one noticed, he said quietly. No one looked, Aaron replied. The words were not an attack. They were honest. Tradition had protected the blade from criticism. No cadet wanted to risk shame by questioning something called perfect. Vaylor slowly deactivated the display. You speak boldly for someone new to this academy, he said. Aaron met his gaze. I respect history, he answered. But respect does not mean blindness. The hall felt different now. The blade no longer floated as a symbol of untouchable perfection. It was still powerful, still deadly, but now it carried something heavier than steel. Doubt. Vaylor lifted the blade one final time and studied its balance in his palm. 300 years of tradition rested in that grip. And for the first time in centuries, the academy was forced to ask a simple question. What else had they stopped improving because they believed it was already perfect? The next morning, the combat hall felt different. There was no loud conversation, no prideful speeches, only tension. News of the humans' claim had spread through the academy overnight. Some cadets were curious. Others were offended. A few senior instructors had even arrived to observe what would happen next. In the center of the hall, the sacred blade rested once more on its glowing platform. But this time, beside it lay something new. A second blade. Similar length. Similar shine. But its design was slightly different. The grip was adjusted. The guard was lighter. The center of balance had been shifted closer to the hand. Aaron stood quietly near the arena floor. Instructor Vaylor faced the gathered crowd. Today, he announced, we test not tradition, but improvement. A low murmur moved through the hall. Vaylor gestured toward the second weapon. The human cadet proposed adjustments. Minor ones. We will now see if they matter. Aaron stepped forward. He had not designed the blade alone. The academy engineers had worked through the night, following his suggestions. Small changes. Nothing dramatic. But sometimes small changes reshape history. Croth stepped into the arena again, this time alongside two other advanced cadets. All three were known for speed and coordination. You will face them together, Vaylor told Aaron. A ripple of surprise spread across the room. Aaron nodded calmly. He picked up the modified blade. Immediately, he felt the difference. The weight sat closer to his palm. The forward pull was gone. It felt alive in a new way, responsive, not heavy. The arena shield activated. The signal flashed. The three cadets attacked at once. The first came from the left, aiming high. The second moved low from the right. The third circled behind. Aaron moved. No hesitation. The new balance allowed faster recovery. His blade shifted direction instantly after each strike. No drag. No delay. Clang. Spark. He blocked left, spun right, and countered low in one smooth motion. The watching cadets leaned forward. Croth lunged from behind. Aaron pivoted sharply. The blade followed his wrist like an extension of his arm, not a weight pulling away from it. One quick strike disarmed the first cadet. A second rapid exchange forced the third to retreat. Croth pressed hard, striking with controlled aggression. Aaron met him head-on. Steel rang through the arena again and again. But this time, something was clear. The blade was no longer slowing him. It was keeping up. In one final exchange, Aaron redirected Krotha's strike and gently tapped the edge of his weapon against Krotha's shoulder armor. The simulation froze. Victory declared. Silence filled the hall once more, but it was not shocked silence. It was realization. Aaron lowered the blade slowly. He was not breathing hard. He was not celebrating. He simply stepped back and waited. Valor walked into the arena. His eyes moved between the sacred blade resting on the platform and the modified version in Aaron's hand. The difference? Valor asked. Aaron spoke calmly. Control, he said. Power without control is wasted. One of the senior instructors stepped forward. The changes are minimal, the instructor observed. Yes, Aaron replied. Because the original design was strong. It just needed to evolve. Valor took the modified blade from Aaron and tested its balance himself. He swung it once. Then again. His movements were faster now. Sharper. He stopped. The hall waited. For centuries, the Academy had taught that the sacred blade was beyond improvement. Now the evidence stood in plain sight. Valor turned toward the cadets. Tradition gave us strength, he said slowly. But stagnation would have weakened us. He looked at Aaron. The human did not dishonor our history. He strengthened it. The weight inside the hall shifted. Not for metal, for mindset. For the first time in generations, the Academy understood something dangerous. Perfection is not a final state. It is a moment before decline. And it took a human to remind them. The victory in the arena should have ended the debate. But it did not. Instead, it began something far bigger. Within days, the Academy Council gathered in the high chamber above the combat halls. Senior instructors, war historians, weapon engineers, and tactical analysts filled the circular room. In the center of the chamber, two blades floated in a holographic field, the sacred original and the modified version. Instructor Valor stood before them. The human cadet exposed a design weakness, he said calmly. Not a failure. A limitation. Some of the older council members looked uneasy. The blade has protected our armies for centuries, one historian argued. It is a symbol of victory. Aaron had been summoned as well. He stood quietly near the edge of the chamber. He did not look proud. He did not look afraid. It is still a symbol, Aaron said respectfully. But symbols must survive the future, not only the past. The room fell silent. A tactical analyst activated battle projections in the air. Simulated fights appeared, modern enemies, faster movements, unpredictable attacks. When the sacred blade was used in the simulations, small weaknesses appeared. Slight delays. Missed counters. When the improved design was used, survival rates increased. The numbers were clear, but accepting them was harder. Why did no one see this before? Another council member asked quietly. Valor answered honestly. Because we stopped questioning. The words hung in the chamber. For generations, cadets had been trained to admire the blade, to respect it, to trust it without doubt. But no one had been trained to challenge it. Aaron stepped forward slightly. On my world, he said, we rebuild things constantly. Weapons, ships, systems, even traditions. Not because they are bad, but because our enemies change. One council member studied him carefully. You believe we became comfortable? Aaron nodded once. Comfort is slow, he replied. And slow loses wars. The chamber remained quiet for a long moment. Finally, Valor raised his hand. I propose a reform, he declared. All legacy weapons will undergo review. Not to dishonor them, but to strengthen them. Murmurs filled the room. Some resisted. Some agreed. But none could deny what they had witnessed in the arena. The council vote was called. One by one, lights appeared around the chamber, approving the motion. The reform passed. Days later, the Academy addressed its cadets once more in the great combat hall. The sacred blade still stood on its platform. But now, beside it, new versions were displayed. Improved, balanced, refined. Valor faced the gathered students. For centuries, he said, we believed perfection had already been achieved. He paused. We were wrong. A quiet wave of surprise moved through the hall. Perfection is not something we protect, Valor continued. It is something we chase. He turned toward Aaron. The human cadet did not attack our history. He protected our future. This time, when the cadets looked at Aaron, there was no doubt in their eyes. There was respect. Not because he had won a duel, but because he had dared to question what no one else would. As the assembly ended, Kroth approached Aaron privately. You changed more than a blade, Kroth said. Aaron gave a small smile. I just asked a question. Croth studied him carefully. On our worlds, he said slowly, we honor strength. Aaron looked at the rows of new weapons being tested by engineers. On mine, he replied, we honor improvement. And that simple difference echoed through the academy long after the combat hall lights dimmed. The galaxy had once believed its blade was perfect. Now it understood something far more powerful. Human strength was not just in muscle. It was in refusing to stop evolving.